Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I wanted to talk today about the 100% rating. There's different ways to get there. This is not new information. This is more of a recap on what that looks like. Getting to 100% and the different avenues in which you can get there. I'm really going to kind of focus on two. One is the, I guess, less utilized option for 100%, and it is a pathway there for many people that might not really realize it. And then the other is permanent and total and what that looks like. There's two others, and I'm just going to quickly talk on those. Before we get into it, though, I want to throw in a special thank you to TVT 1830. TVT 1830. Thank you so much for that super comment, super chat. I really, really do appreciate your support very much. All right, so jumping into this, let's talk about the four types of 100%, right? So you have temporary 100%, which is, let's say you have a service-connected knee issue and now you got to go in and get surgery on that and you're laid up for 2 months or whatever it is. You can apply for and get 100% rating even if you were at 30%, for example. So that'll bump you up to 100% while you're going through the recovery period. The next one that you're going to look at is your standard 100% scheduler rating, right? That is all of your conditions added up together with the VA funny math, right? And you know what? I will talk about, sorry, I got this got some gray hairs. I mean, it's all over in the beard, and then I get these stragglers. Anyway, so 100% scheduler with the VA funny math. So you might have whatever, X number of ratings. All of those ratings together take you to 100%, but not permanent and total. The reason why is, sure, you're at 100%, which is total, but you're not permanent because the VA is looking at your conditions and you have a condition or conditions that the VA is not quite sure if it's going to show any improvement typically within the first 5 years of the rating. So what they're going to do is they're going to put out a future exam for you and reevaluate and see where you fall on the rating schedule with that before they're going to just give you the permanent and total. Now, VA funny math real quick, since we're jumping into that. VA funny math, I'm going to give you the quick example here. Before I do, though, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Every thumbs up, every minute watched really does help the channel expand its reach. It's all of us together at the end of the day. I mean, nobody can do it by themselves. It's the community, and I thank you all very much for hitting that thumbs up, letting the video run. If you want to support in other ways, consider being a member. Thank you so much to all you members. I do my best to get back to you in the comments. It's hard to keep up with everything. If I miss you, just chime in again, and hopefully I can catch that. All right, VA funny math, the quick version here. Let's say that you have 3 50% ratings, just to use easy numbers for me. So 50% for your knee, 50% for your back, and 50% for your head, just to simplify it. So you have these 3 different ratings. What the VA is going to do is they're going to go, okay, well, 50 plus 50 plus 50 does not equal 150. What 50, 50, 50 equals is, well, let's look at your highest rating first. Well, in this case, they're all the same. So 50% is your highest rating. They go, great, you're 50% bad. Well, guess what? That means you're still 50% good. So let's look at your next highest rating. Again, in this case, they're all the same, 50%. So now you're 50% bad, you're 50% good. Of your 50% good, they're going to take that next rating, 50% off of that, 50% bad. So that's 25, 50 of 25. 50% of 25, or 50% of 50 is 25. So there you go. You add that to your 50% bad. Now you're 75% bad. Well, you're still 25% good, according to the VA. So they take your next highest rating. In this case, it's your last rating, which is at 50%. So now you have this 50% of that remainder of 25. 50 of 25 is 12.5. 12.5 plus your 75 takes you to 87.5, rounded up to 88. 88% is your true rating in this example. Rounded up, they pay you out at 90%. So you're a 90% rated veteran with a true rating of 88. So that's how VA funny math works. The closer you get, the harder it is to get there is essentially what happens. It's kind of this inclined, kind of sloping thing that you got going on. So with that, that's the first two, your standard scheduler that has a future exam and your temporary. So those are the two that maybe you knew about already, maybe you kind of understand. Now let's move on to the next two. These are the two that I think that you really need to be aware of, right? So let's first just talk about the 100% permanent and total and what that looks like and how you can get there. Now, the key to 100% permanent and total is all of your conditions add up to 100 in VA funny math, and they are deemed static. They're deemed not to get any better, right? Now, how can you do that when you're filing your claim for the first time? Well, some conditions are just that way. And other conditions, if you're rated at the lowest percentage allowed, the VA is not going to set a future exam. You're already at the lowest rating. So, for example, if the lowest rating is 10% and you have a 10% for that condition, the VA is not going to bother you with that. Now, when all of your conditions add up and they can equate to 100%, with that static nature, the VA should give you permanent and total. Now, what happens is there's two kind of things that happen where you get to the 100% and maybe you should be 100% permanent and total, but the VA doesn't really catch it. So one way is common. We continue to go in for increases, right? I had increases or secondary conditions, and you start trying to build up your claim that way. You get an increase here, you get a secondary condition. Maybe you found another just a direct service connected condition that maybe you missed. And so you're adding these things into your claim along the way, and maybe over a 5-year, 7-year period, you start knocking these things out. And even if they're static with no future exams, you're compounding all these things, and the VA doesn't really quite catch that it should be permanent and total. It happens. So in that case, if you're 100% and you don't have any future exams that you're aware of, based on the decision letters should tell you if you have a future exam. You might want to just call the VA and ask them, or go to your accredited representative and ask them, hey, can you tell me what conditions I have rated with the VA that are considered static? And they will. And that's going to help you ascertain whether or not you should request your rating to be switched to permanent and total. If the VA has all of your conditions listed as static, but you're not permanent and total, the VA missed it, and you should be permanent and total, and you should absolutely ask them to switch it, in my opinion. I had to do that personally. And it worked out just fine. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a horror story out there somewhere. Know yourself, know your situation. If all your conditions are static and you know they're static and the VA's has them listed as static, you should absolutely be permanent and total. Now, another kind of aspect here is let's talk about front loading things a little bit, right? So let's say you have, for example, all of your conditions are static and you're rated 90%, and now you have a new condition that you're going to file for, and you want to make sure that it is static. Maybe you've been being treated for that condition over the past 7 years, right? And if you have been treated for that condition for the past 7 years and it has not gotten any better, it's stayed static, or has actually gotten worse, then you might want to, in my opinion, work with your doctor and have them write a letter stating very, very point blank the severity of your condition outlined, right, for rating purposes. And you should have them annotate in there in a letter, clear up front in the VA's face, that you've been treated for 7 years and your condition is considered static, underlined, italic, bold, whatever, to make sure that the VA sees that. The VA has what's called the 5-year rule. And in my reading of the Code of Federal Regulations, my understanding and the way that it's written, you really have an argument to say that if I can prove to the VA that my condition has remained the same or gotten worse over a period of 5 years or more, that should be deemed static. So you can front load with your claim that information so the VA can actually give you that static designation at the claim decision, instead of what some people do, just get your most recent, doctor's information regarding your condition, whatever, and they submit that. Well, where's all the history of the 5 years? You didn't submit any of that, so the VA is going to say, well, I can't really deem it static because I don't really know. I'm missing all of that. So sometimes less is not more. You need to be strategic, and you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish with the evidence that you're supplying, if that makes sense. So if your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't understand how to do solid Nexus letters or DBQs, utilize AME, American Medical Experts. Their information is in the description and in the comments for you to take advantage of them with their free consultation. See if it makes sense for you. They are board certified doctors and can knock it out for you. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about here is TDIU, Total Disability Individual Unemployability. Now, this is just, we'll call it an overview. I'll do deeper dives on this type of benefit later. But essentially, what you're doing here is you're telling the VA that my condition or my conditions that I have that are service connected are causing me so much problems that I can't actually maintain gainful employment because of them. Now, it has to be because of your service-connected condition or conditions, and you must have at least a 60% rating of one condition. That's one condition that's 60%, or if you don't have any that are rated that high, it's kind of hard sometimes to get up into the over 50% range. So if you don't have one condition at 60%, but you have multiple conditions that take you to 70% or higher, with at least one of them being 40% or greater, that's the qualifier into TDIU. As long as that's inhibiting your ability to hold gainful employment, you can absolutely get that benefit, and it will pay you out at 100%. So even if, let's use the best example here, you have one rating at 60%. That 60% rating for that one condition is causing you so many problems that you cannot hold a job, right? You can't hold a job because of this one service-connected condition that you have that's rated at 60%. You apply for TDIU, Total Disability Individual Unemployability, and they grant it. You then go from a 60% payment to a 100% payment on TDIU. Now, once that happens, great, you're getting paid out at 100%. That's awesome, but you can't go out and earn anything substantial. Your income needs to be kind of, spotty, and you can't really earn more than, say, the poverty level is essentially what they're looking at. They're not going to count these odd jobs and marginal employment against you as long as you're not making, a lot of money. So get with your accredited rep, research, and understand what the poverty levels are set by Congress, and make sure that you stay under that amount. Now, what does it look like from a financial standpoint? For example, if you're a veteran with a spouse and you're, let's say, at 70% with a spouse, that's 19. We'll just round to the nearest dollar, like the nearest 100. So you're looking at $1,900 a month. It's a little over that, $1,900 a month. You get approved for TDIU. All of a sudden, you jump to over $4,000 a month. Big difference, more than double by going that route. So it's just an important aspect of the benefits that you need to understand and know about. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.